Good morning. It's a brighter day in the neighborhood. I'm Angela Jones, and we're here with Sydney Bierwirth, one of our associates in the Colorado office. Good morning,
Good
Sid.
morning. How are you?
I'm good. I'm on a little bit of a roll. We've had a,
Yeah.
a couple of people stop by the
Yep.
studio this morning and sit down and talk with me. I appreciate you
Yeah.
making time. I know you have been in court a lot
Oh yeah. Yep.
recently. You are,
Definitely.
I'm starting to think of you really as our star litigator. It's like, if it's going to court,
Yep.
Sydney's going to be on
I
top of it.
I think I just need to just set up shop at the courthouse and just sleep there. It's where I've been living
Yeah, it seems
recently.
that way, but
Yeah.
you're getting some really good
Yeah.
outcomes, so that's excellent. And so you came over and joined us this past year from the DA's office.
Yes.
So you're not a stranger to the courtroom.
I am certainly not a stranger to the courtroom. When I was working at the DA's office, I was in court for the first several months I was there. Probably every single day, most of the time. There might have been, a couple of weeks here and there where I wasn't in court, but almost every single day I was in a courtroom.
And so that's pretty much how it is here
Yes,
now.
no, it's the exact same.
Well, and that's the part you really
Yeah.
love about practicing law, right?
Yeah, when I made the shift over to Brighter Day, that was the part that was familiar. And, it was something where I felt comfortable and I figured, okay, this is the part that, it doesn't matter where you go, courtrooms are always going to be courtrooms. And a lot of the judges that I've encountered at my time at the DA's office, I've also encountered here during my practice at Brighter Day. So that's where, that stuff doesn't really change.
Right. And so how have you found the switch over to family law?
I think it's probably been having the background and the experience that I did have in my last place of employment. It's probably made that shift a lot easier than it would have been. And I think anytime you pick up a different area of law, there's going to be some transition. But I think having that background and having that experience, and of course, getting to work with you and all of the other attorneys in the firm that we have, it's made that shift great.
And you come from a line of, I'm going to say this, a
A line,
line
yeah.
of family law
Yes.
attorneys, right?
Yes, all one person ahead of me. Yep.
But it's your mom.
Yes.
So,
Yes. So my mom has been practicing. I'm originally from the Detroit area in Michigan, and my mom has been practicing, man, I think probably 30 years at this point. The majority of it doing family law. And so it's really all I've ever known. It's what I grew up with. And ultimately, it's obviously influenced me
Yeah.
in my career path as well.
so that makes sense that you would choose family law, but why Brighter Day?
Well, Brighter Days, to me, when I was making that transition into private practice, what really stuck out about Brighter Day was that it was a people-focused firm. Everyone there has always been focused on each other, on the client, on making sure that our goals and our path forward is people-focused. And it felt like I was going to be part of a team. It felt like I was going to be part of an environment where people truly cared about my development, my well-being, how my day was, even stuff not related to the practice of law. And it felt like that was going to also influence how I would work with clients and how everyone at Brighter Day treats their clients. It's about building that relationship and seeing the person first rather than it being a case or a matter that you're working on.
Has that kind of borne out as true for you?
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah.
I think the one of the things I remember early on, you inherited a case from another attorney, and there was this, group of videos or something like that, for whatever reason, we were coming up on, a deadline for disclosure or something, and it was a lot. It was like 24 hours worth of videos, and you were kind of like, and,
Yeah.
and the whole firm just pitched in, and we divide and conquered, and I can't tell you how many people go back to that opportunity to pitch in as one of their highlights, actually,
Yeah.
because they're, legal assistants and or paralegals who don't know this client, all just really felt privileged to get to, assist this client, assist you in kind of making sure that we were, fully prepared for what we needed to do going forward. And,
Yeah.
I think for an attorney to find themselves in that position can be kind of harrowing. Like,
Yeah.
I can't get this all done myself.
Yeah.
I know what that feels like, feeling like everything kind of rests on you. But I think it is, it's really a cool thing. Like it's developed, I mean, I started the firm, but a lot of the culture is developed because of the people that have added, come into it, including you and all the other attorneys and support staff and admin. They just continue to add positively to the culture. And so for me, that was, I don't know, it's almost like, I have kids, when you step back and you look and your kids are just amazing and you're like, wow.
Proud mom moment.
I kind of
Yeah.
did that, but
Yeah.
really, I couldn't even conceptualize that
Yeah.
that would be the case. So that was super cool.
Yeah, and it was at that point I'd already experienced that this was absolutely a team environment, and I knew I could already count on people. But that was sort of, I don't want to say a pivotal moment, because again, I had already experienced that with Brighter Day, but that really is a moment that sticks out in my mind as well. And I remember the conversation I had with you right before that was, I want to do all of this myself. I don't want to ask for help. And you encouraged me, like, no, you can't always do everything yourself. And I think that was a learning moment for me of I need to be able to rely on other people, because there's no possible way I can do everything myself. It doesn't matter. So that was a growing moment for me. But it was also something, honestly, it was a really beautiful moment for the entire firm. And it became, it's always about the client and it's always about the case, but it really exemplified, just how tight-knit we are, how much everyone cares about each other, how much everyone sincerely wants to pitch in and help each other. And I think that was just the perfect moment to embody really what Brighter Day stands for.
Yeah, I think it was cool. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
a little misty
Yeah.
about the whole thing. And speaking of teams, a thing or two about teams.
I do.
All right,
A little bit.
so tell me about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, so just growing up my entire life, I've always been just a huge tomboy. I have an older brother who I always wanted to be like, and my dad, who's an absolute sports fanatic. So he always put my brother in sports, which meant I always wanted to be in sports.
Right.
And I grew up just playing, variety of different things. And ultimately, I ended up sticking with hockey the longest, ice hockey. And it's been the most incredible community, really, to be a part of, to be part of the hockey community, but also to be part of a smaller community of female hockey players.
Right.
It's just, I can't tell you how grateful I am that I got started in that so early, and that I've sort of found my hobby and my niche that I feel like I belong in. And I was lucky enough to play 4 years of it in college at Michigan State. And after that, I thought I was done competing competitively, but I got an opportunity to compete in the Maccabi Games, which is essentially Jewish Olympics. It's a huge tournament, and there are tons of different sports. It happens every 4 years in Israel. And this past summer was the first year that they had women's ice hockey, so I got to be a part of that.
Inaugural team.
Yeah.
And y'all took silver.
We did take silver.
That
Yeah.
was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was great.
So we were up. I know different members of the firm were up
Yeah.
watching, watching the live stream, and I was watching your final game. And every time I'd be looking for that. I think it was 19, right?
15.
15.
Close.
That's right.
They look the same.
I know it was Tim Tebow. I tried to connect that because my son Will always loved Tim Tebow, and that was 15, not 19. But
Yeah.
it was catching it go by. But I still okay. I grew up in the South, and so there's a lot of sports that we follow. Football in particular, but hockey has always been one where I don't know. I have a hard time because it's moving so fast.
And the puck is small, it's black, you can't
Yeah.
see it. Yeah, and that was something I remember growing up and being from the Detroit area. I would always watch the Red Wings, which is a huge conflict here in Colorado. But I remember being a kid and thinking, like, I can't keep up with this. And the more you watch it, the more you get into it. But
Right.
ultimately, for me, that was, out of all of the sports that I played, that was the appeal of it, was how fast-paced it was.
Right.
And how unlike any other sport it was. So, and also thank you to everyone and to you for your support and being up late at 1 in the morning or whenever watching those games, or 5 a.m.
No, it
But
was awesome.
yeah.
It was awesome to be able to, like, I don't know, it's not often that you get to experience, or it's kind of like a little bit of like fangirl or whatever. The whole thing is like, ooh, look,
I know
I know
her.
her, look, on TV, and so that was super cool.
Yeah.
So, what do you got going on here in town? I know you're kind of a newlywed.
A little, yeah. So I got married to my husband in 2018, so 4 years, and we met each other in college. And he was active duty in the Army. He was in ROTC. So after college, he got stationed out here at Fort Carson, and I immediately went from college into law school. And after I graduated law school, we came out here. And once he finished active duty, we loved it out here so much. I mean, it's hard to beat everything out here, all of the activities, all of the hiking and the camping and the climbing and skiing. So we ended up just staying out here and settling here.
Yeah, and you have fur babies.
I do. I have one dog. I'm trying to convince my husband to get a dog for my dog because
Right, because
that's how it works.
they need
Right.
siblings,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah, and I am like unhealthy obsessed with my dog. So
Tell me about your dog.
She is crazy. I conned my husband into getting her. So we went to the Humane Society, and the goal at the time, we were living in a small one-bedroom apartment, and the goal was to get a cat because they're low maintenance and you can like leave them for the weekend.
His goal was to get a cat.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So we
Just
went,
clarifying
yes.
here.
So we went there to look for cats, and then we
Right.
went there, and
This is where the con began.
Yes.
Right.
and it was right before the Humane. It was like 4:45, right before the Humane Society was going to close at 5. And I was like, well, why don't we go look at the dogs? Like, we're here, we might as well. And he's like, we're not getting a dog. We're not getting a dog. We're not getting a dog. I'm like, I never said we were getting a dog. I just said I wanted to go look at the dogs. So we went and looked at all the dogs. There was this little puppy. She looks like a little bit of like a Doberman with little brown eyebrows and black coloring. So she was a little puppy. She's just sitting there, and I'm like, we have to play with this dog. He's like, we'll play with her, but we're not getting her. I'm like, I never said anything about getting her. So we play with her, and we ended up, playing with this dog until they kicked us out at 5 o'clock. And we went home empty-handed, and, of course, I'm sad. I would have taken that dog home in a heartbeat. The next day, I came back. This was, I think, my second year summer in law school. So I came back from my internship for lunch, and there's a little black dog rolling around on our,
It was her.
yep. He
Oh.
apparently thought about it overnight and was like, I need that dog, and went back and got her, and she just has, a total personality. Again, I'm going to sound like a crazy dog person, but she has the funniest personality. She's almost 5, and she is just as crazy as she was as a puppy. She's so smart, but she, accompanies us on all of our hikes and camping, and loves to do all of those activities with us.
Well, it sounds like she and your husband are both keepers.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, for now. For now.
Hey.
If there's a day that has to come where I'm choosing the dog or the husband, we're gonna have to have a discussion.
It'll be an analysis.
Yeah,
right.
we're gonna have to do.
You
like
just
a
have to give
checklist.
him some credit for actually having gotten you the dog in the first place.
100%,
I mean,
yeah.
because like I'm kind of crushing on him right now over that story.
Yeah, yeah. And I was like so brokenhearted, and then the next day I probably used a lot more profanities, but I'm like,
Oh.
what is that? What do we have here? And yeah, so no, he did good, and I got lucky.
Yeah, you guys.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, unfortunately, I think I'm kind of out of time. I'm getting the wave off over here on the right. Got these people in the studio going.
I think we could probably just talk to each other for an hour. And
Yeah, for a really long time, for a really, really long time. But thank you so much
Yeah,
for
thank
stopping
you.
by, and I'll wrap up here and let you get back to the courtroom.
Thank you for having me, and my break from sleeping at the courthouse.
There you go. There you go. Angela Jones here with Sydney Bierwirth. It's been another brighter day in the neighborhood. Until next time, have a brighter day.